Okay, today's episode is juicy, where we are getting right into the nitty-gritty of three huge topics that I am extremely passionate about dissecting, unlearning, and redefining how you want to navigate them going forward. So, what are these three topics, you might ask? Well, these three P's are perfectionism, people pleasing, and procrastination. Oh, and also, if you listen to the very end of this episode, there is a very sneaky special offer just for you who listen into this podcast that will only be valid for the next day. So keep listening. All right, let me break down these three things for you in their own way, plus give you an action step to take away from this episode for each of them. Like I said, buckle up, grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and hang out because this is going to be so good. All right, let's jump right into the first one of perfectionism because I feel like this gets talked about all the time. It is heavily discussed online. I mean, I am one of those people, but it can be very overwhelming to hear all of the quote unquote traits of perfectionism. So let me just make it clear and straightforward on the basics here. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of traits. I just want to share insight into how this can affect your day to day and allow you to see it from a different perspective today. No judgment, no shame, no big list of details, just raw and honest conversation here. Essentially, I want to peel back the layers a bit to give you a better understanding as to how this can show up for you and how to navigate it. So, alrighty, let's dive into the first P, perfectionism. In its simplest form, the term is often defined as the need to be or appear to be perfect, or even to believe that it's possible to achieve perfection. This can look like acting in a specific way around certain people, performing at a high level to achieve success, completing tasks in an exact way to make sure everything is done to a T of how it was prescribed to be done. Now, let me stop right now to say perfectionism is not bad or wrong. Okay. I know I talk a lot on my Instagram about healing it, tackling it, and unlearning certain aspects of it. I know I do that. So, this is me saying a PSA right now. If it works for you, that is so okay. End of story. If you are enjoying your life, having a meaningful life, and truly feels as though it is working for you, then absolutely there's nothing to change here. You do you, boo. However, in my line of work, I am talking more specifically to the people that struggle with balancing the rigid nature of trying to be perfect and having a fulfilling and happy lifestyle that they truly enjoy. So if you're someone that feels this part of you that is quote unquote stuck in perfectionism and feels that it may be holding you back in some ways, then that is what I am here for. We all have our own levels of perfectionism that serve us and can work well. And sometimes in different seasons of life, it may not be serving you anymore, which is where it is taking a huge emotional toll on you. And then you may want to work on supporting yourself in changing how you operate a bit. And that is also totally normal and okay to want to do that. So, in all honesty, I fluctuate in my perfectionism. And as long as I can take the time to notice and name it for what it is and not let it derail me, then I can befriend it and we can go on our merry way together, you know? Gotta love up on all parts of yourself and build relationships with those parts. Anyway, so now that I've gotten the simple definition and perspective out of the way, let me peel back a deeper layer here. The deeper root of perfectionism is related to your basic human need for connection and desiring to be accepted, that belonging. And that can trickle into that feeling of being enough. And so, when it comes to this need for acceptance from others, we can attach our self worth to our performance and achievements. And if you're feeling exhausted, constantly beating yourself up for the fact that you didn't check that box of success and achievement, and you're dwelling and spiraling hard because of it, then that is where you might want to check in with yourself to see how supportive this is for you right now in your season of life. Perfectionism can creep up in so many ways. One key element here can be seeking external validation to basically confirm your self-worth and enoughness. Like, oh, I just did the thing, but it is only acceptable if I get praised for it. And when you don't get that approval, you can try to seek it out even more. And then that starts this vicious cycle of constantly pushing yourself more to ultimately be and feel accepted, which ends up leading you into feeling not enough. And then you just, keep going in that cycle. And to be honest, I could talk a lot more about this in depth, but that will be saved for another episode of it on its own. But for now, here's my takeaway for you with navigating perfectionism. And before I say this takeaway, let's just pause and take a deep breath in together right now before I share this statement. Let's breathe in and out. You do not have to be perfect to be seen, loved, understood, enough, and valuable in this world. Take a moment to let that sink in. You are innately worthy. You are enough. You are loved. You are powerful. And you are perfect exactly as you are in this world, as the human that you are today, right now. No achievement or mistake can determine your worth in this world. You are simply worthy as you are, and that is your birthright. Okay, I'll give you a second to let that sink in because, I feel it too. So powerful to receive that, even for myself to hear right now, too. Okay, and now the action step with this may feel hard and also kind of silly at first, but self-validating can really bring the attention and focus onto yourself, which is the thing that is in your control. You can't dictate how and when you'll get validation from others. That is completely out of your control. So learn to self-validate and shift your focus onto what you can control and allow yourself space to accept and hold those parts that deeply seek that approval with love inward. Now, let me add here, this will feel uncomfortable or honestly like, what the heck am I doing? This feels so strange and this is pointless. But trust me when I say soothing yourself is the most supportive thing you can do for your nervous system and to support you into making lasting change. So create a statement that you can say to yourself in moments of doubt or frustration that someone didn't see you in your effort. Then pause, reconnect to yourself, and say a statement like, I am proud of myself, or I am worthy simply as I am, or it is safe to love myself through this, or even I am valuable regardless of this achievement. Okay. And also, if you are totally vibing with this topic and want to learn how to really step into this on a deeper level with personal guidance, my new offer, No Drama Vibes, is so powerful. I am honestly so excited. I can't even tell you how amazing this container is going to be. 2 weeks together, 4 live calls, a Facebook community to connect with everyone who is already inside. Like, I have a huge bonus of this offer just for you at the end of this episode. So keep listening. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. Whew. Okay. The second P that we will be addressing is people pleasing. And this is a big one. People pleasing is considered a trauma response called fawning. People pleasing can occur because it was the safest thing to do to survive in a specific moment or specific time in your life. When we were told as kids to do something that did not feel good to us, like internally, yet we did it anyway to please others in our life, that can be repeated for years and years, which it ends up feeling deeply ingrained in our nature to do this and ultimately forget about ourselves in the process. So, to tie into the theme of the deep root of each of the three P's here, the deep root of people pleasing is similar to perfectionism, where it is to feel loved, seen, and accepted, but the actions we take are different here. When we people please, we may do anything and everything to receive this love and acceptance. So it may not be doing something perfectly, but rather doing something regardless of what it takes to get that human connection and to be seen. You may drop whatever you are doing to help another. You may ignore your inner feelings just to save face and go to a gathering to show that you are there for those people, even though deep down you are exhausted or low energy or going through something rough in your own life, but you ignore it to be there for others first. So, my takeaway for people pleasing is powerful, and it is this: the power of and. You might believe that you have to be there for someone at all times, or else you are a bad friend, or you have to say yes to that project at work, or else you are a bad employee. This fixed mindset around an all or nothing lens can be really exhausting to operate in, because you're always going to stress about showing up all the time for others, or else you are looked down upon by them if you don't. So, one, this is not true. And two, this can create a ton of different roles or hats that you play. So, when you are with your family, you wear the good girl hat. When you're with your friends, you wear the super supportive hat. When you are with your partner, you wear the take care of your needs first hat. When you're at work, you wear that I've got that covered hat. You tend to create different roles for yourself. And over time, when you walk through your own door at the end of the day, you take all those hats off and have no idea who you are on your own. And that can feel so friggin' scary and lonely. And I have been there many times. It isn't a nice feeling. So, the power of and allows you to step out of the box of or, where you believe you have to be all the things for all the people, or you are a shitty person. So let's drop that narrative right here, right now. The power of and means this: you can set a boundary and still have a healthy relationship. You can be vulnerable about something and still be a great leader. You can say no and still be a loving person. You can take the time for yourself and still love up on your people. You can ask for support and still be a strong, badass human being. You, my love, are absolutely worthy of deciding how you want to live your life in your own way and still be a wonderful, beautiful human in the other areas of your life. Just because you set boundaries and take care of yourself does not mean that you are rude or unlovable. And if people make you feel that way, girl, there is another layer there that might need to be addressed to know if they should still be hanging around in your immediate circle. But bottom line, you are a beautiful human doing amazing things in this world. And taking time for you before others is your birthright. You got to put your own oxygen mask on first before you help someone else. You can't fill someone else's cup from your empty cup. I want you to actually pause and think of your own cup right now in this visualization metaphor. Is it full? And if you think about this cup, is it decorated pretty with all the times you've relaxed and spent time on your own to paint it? Or is it a blank, cracked, and leaking cup? If you feel exhausted and your cup is cracked, pause and hold it tightly with your own hands to block those leaks. That is you surviving right now. And one, that is so okay. But two, now that you know this cup is cracked, are you going to keep moving forward, holding your super tight hands on this cracked cup, hoping the tea does not leak out every 2 seconds? is that really sustainable? Girl, it ain't. This is your moment to pause, notice if your cup has some cracks, and take the time to get to know yourself. Glue up some of those cracks and then decorate that beautiful cup of yours and love up on you. Okay. So your takeaway here was the power of and. Now, your action step for people pleasing is to write down the areas of your life where you feel you are in an or state and what's one tiny promise you can make to yourself to support you in that area. And once again, if you are hearing this and you're like, oof, I need to dive into this deeper, that is exactly what we were doing within my new offer, No Drama Vibes. It starts next week, September 19th. Okay. You know what? Screw it. I can't wait until the end of the episode. So I'm going to share this bonus with you. Here it is. My pre-sale price of, drum roll, I hope you can hear that, 111 Canadian dollars, which is 84-ish US dollars. Like so good. This pricing ended on Friday, but if you are listening to this episode, send me the ghost emoji in the DMs on Instagram. My handle is SoniaJMac.coaching. Within the next day, so only available Monday and Tuesday this week, you will be able to snag that pre-sale pricing still for being a listener to my podcast. Like, how friggin' juicy is that? The price has tripled now. So you are getting it at an insane price. So make sure to DM me with a ghost emoji to get your discounted price. All right, sorry, I got way too excited there. Let's keep going. Last but not least is the last P, which is procrastination. And this one can definitely be tied into perfectionism a lot, where if something isn't perfect, we tend to avoid or delay it. But there are a lot of little intricate ways we tend to procrastinate on things. Our brains can be very sneaky to tell us things like, ooh, I have more time, or I don't need to do that right now. And the list goes on with our sneaky brain doing sneaky things. Procrastination is the habit of avoiding. When you feel anxious about something, or when you feel extra stressed or overwhelmed, or when something feels new and scary, or when you are wanting to say yes to investing in yourself for the first time, it can all feel daunting, and our brain will say it is daunting. And next thing you know, you are engaging in that habit of avoidance and seeking instant gratification. But before we can address the habit, aka the behavior you engage in instead, we have to look at the deep root of procrastination. The deeper layer here is what and why of your avoidance. So, what is bringing about this need to avoid and why? And most of the time, it is our sneaky comfort zone and brain collaborating to say it is safest to avoid and stay where we are so that we don't need to deal with whatever we are trying to face. The comfort zone and brain like to be besties and team up to be like, okay, this doesn't feel safe. Let's throw out all the reasons why it isn't. And then brain will be like, don't worry, she'll believe them if we are persistent, aka brain tackling the avoidance piece. And then comfort zone will say, don't worry, I got you. I'll make the couch feel extra cozy. So the comfort zone is tackling that instant gratification you're seeking. Okay, you get the point. So when it comes to procrastination, the focus shouldn't be on the behavior itself that you're engaging in that moment. When you're like, oh, why do I keep doing this? I always procrastinate. And instead, noticing what thoughts and feelings are actually dictating this behavior. So, your takeaway here is to pause and notice what specific thoughts are coming up, aka brain's role in this, to divert your attention away from the thing you're trying to do, and also allow yourself time to reflect on why you want to avoid it, aka addressing the comfort zone and seeking that instant gratification, which is basically avoiding some form of pain or discomfort. So often we want to avoid that pain and would much rather indulge in immediate pleasures and fun to mask the pain as if it'll easily drift away and never come back. But doing that is like a boomerang effect, except that boomerang actually comes back 10 times harder and more prevalent again when you've pushed it down so many times. And actually, think of avoidance like a beach ball in water. The more you try to push down that beach ball, the more it will be super slippery and try to pop up just as fast as you trying to shove it underwater. It will never stay underwater for long. So, your action step is a two-parter. What if you did address the avoidant thoughts and feelings? What if you gave yourself space to feel them? Let them simply be there. Just because you have the thought of, oh my God, I suck at this task, I always push it off to the last minute, or I can't do this, I can't get this done in time, pause and let those thoughts linger on their own. And by the way, one of my main messages throughout all of my episodes and like all of my coaching and all of the things that I share will be this: you cannot control the thoughts that come up, but you can control how you respond to them. So notice the thoughts that come up, let them be. It's okay for them to be there, but allow yourself that time to pause and recognize what specific thoughts are dictating your procrastination. You do not need to believe them right out the gate when they pop up, but you can choose your next step. So that is the second part of this action step, is to give yourself one tiny task or step that may seem super simple as your next move. And I'm not saying go do the thing that you're procrastinating on, but literally choose something. Maybe it is opening the dishwasher rather than filling the entire thing with all the dishes. Maybe it's just one step of opening that book and reading one page rather than expecting to read a ton of pages. Maybe it's breaking down a big task into smaller bite-sized tasks and you tackle the first one on that list and that's it. Starting super small will feel ridiculous for your brain. Let me tell you, like that brain of yours will be like, this is so silly, go do the whole thing. But you have to take this moment to practice the slow and simple, to let your brain get behind this process. And that is okay to take it one tiny step at a time. It builds momentum over time. So if you take that one tiny step, it might actually give you a boost of energy to keep going. If so, great. But if not, that's great too. But you decide to show up for yourself in that moment with that one tiny thing. And that is so huge. Whew. Okay. So that is all the things I wanted to share about the three Ps. So let's just recap all of them right now. Perfectionism, the deep root of it is seeking to be accepted and enough from external sources. Your takeaway is that you do not have to be perfect to be seen, loved, understood, enough, and valuable in this world. And you are powerful and perfect exactly as you are. And the action step is to practice self-validating. So that could be statements like, I am proud of myself, and let your nervous system get more familiar with that. And then the second P is people pleasing. The deep root of people pleasing is similar to perfectionism, where it is to feel loved, seen, and accepted, but the actions we take are different. When we people please, we may do anything and everything to receive that love and acceptance. The takeaway is utilize the power of and to shift your thought process. Your action step is write down the areas in your life where you feel you are stuck in an or state and make one promise to yourself to step into your power, embracing both sides with and. And then the last one is procrastination. And the deep root of it is the what and why of your avoidance. What is bringing about this need to avoid and why? Your takeaway is to pause and notice what specific thoughts are coming up to divert your attention away from the thing you're trying to do. And also allow yourself time to reflect on why you want to avoid it. The action step is allow yourself to feel the feelings and then give yourself one tiny action step as your next move. All right. Wow, this was a hefty episode and lots of information to take away here. And I wanted to give you the lowdown here today because this is what around, 25 minutes of three huge topics. But imagine breaking each of these down in full detail, 1 hour for each topic, plus an extra call to drop any other questions you have about moving through this. No drama vibes is the offer for you. In all honesty, people always ask how I am able to shift through the thought spirals and move through the fears, how I don't let the big things get to me. But here's my truth and energetic standard of, of all of this. Who I be in these moments makes all the difference. How I look at these situations is ultimately my choice. I am not allowing my thoughts to run the show anymore. I do not allow external factors to dictate how I live and embody the things in my life. I do not depend on external validation to support myself, my worth, and my abilities. My thoughts are ever changing, ever evolving, and also ever fleeting. So I don't make them mean anything about who I am as a person. I have built a relationship with my brain so that I can co create my desires alongside it as an ally rather than an enemy. Now, was work required to get here? Of friggin' course. And that is exactly what we're doing inside this new offer, No Drama Vibes. Sometimes it's not about doing more. Sometimes it's about going inward and working on your own shit. Sometimes it's about looking at and healing your relationship with your brain, beliefs, and perspectives. And once I did this, the things that used to feel so big felt smaller and smaller when I think about what I desired and where I was heading. I have a big vision on my heart to share, and we're going there together, and literally nothing can stop us. The three P's and me, it's a no drama vibe where we move through the motions with ease and intention and power. So I am super excited for you to experience this pure magic that is going to happen and shift the way you operate through all the drama. This magic is moving through your days effortlessly with passion and power and no drama vibes. If you're ready to tap into your highest potential where perfectionism, people pleasing, and procrastination are no longer running the show, then you need to hop into no drama vibes. You get to decide who you be as you move through these three P's right here, right now. And if you want to start showing up in your life your way without the drama, without the shoulds and rules dictating your next steps, and to lean into deep self approval and trust in yourself, then join us. As I said earlier, I am sharing this here because you get an exclusive bonus just for listening into this podcast. And I am so, so appreciative of each and every one of you for being here. So send me the ghost emoji in the DMs on Instagram for your discounted offer to this program, and I'll send the code to you to snag your spot in this beautiful container. All right, that is all for today. And I love you so much, and we will chat soon.